not introduce myself because she did a better job than me. I have my phone for the very first time when I'm on the stage, and I'll tell you why. Because when I got to know about this topic, when Shantanu told me that we'll talk about how, before we talk about how AI, adds value for advertisers and brands, we'll talk about how AI and humans play a very interconnected connection. And I was really thinking that how should I, do my opening lines and all of that. So while I was reading about this in the morning, and then I realized that yes, there's always this debate happening in this world today that will AI replace humans? We have robots coming over when we talk about AI. We have a lot of systems coming into picture. Will we get redundant and all of that? And of course, there's an endless debate around it. So I really read about it. So when I searched nothing more but just a one simple keyword in the morning, which was artificial intelligence, first thing that came up was AI is an evolving technology that tries to simulate human intelligence using machines. Second was that it's, in the broadest sense, is intelligence exhibited by machines to help humans. Third is, and it's there if you search about it, right, that it is a computer-led technique and intelligence that help humans with problem-solving capabilities, and it just goes on and on and on, right? And I felt it's true. It's just that while we are talking about it, because we keep on reading more about it, and I'll not talk in depth of AI because we have entire day to learn about that. But the fact is that since it's such a complex world for us, especially in an Indian advertising world, because advertising here is increasing and moving towards digital at a very transformative age. It's not an evolution, but a revolution is what I'll say. If you look at past 2 years or post-pandemic, we cannot even recall that world anymore. It's changing at such a fast pace. So it seems very complex to us. But if you really look at in terms of what we want from advertising, the core basic principle of advertising, it's getting closer to consumers. It's ensuring that whatever product we have, we're able to sell it with more efficacy and more efficiently. I mean, that's the base of every advertiser, right? Everything else is a surround that helps us to build that. Similarly, when we talk about AI today, and quickly if I have to crisply just break it into 3 words and simplify it for you, I'll say that just map it back to how you plan your campaigns and what is the core of even going for an advertising as a purpose. Clearly, first thing is experience, because no matter what, yes, AI is there to help us the way it itself says on Google, right? That it's an intelligent system helping us to take better informed decisions. Similarly, when we talk about consumers, we all are also consumers to every brand. We eventually want to have good experiences, something that can make me connect with a brand, and hence I will take my decision whether I want to buy or not, and that's where answer lies. That as an advertiser, as brand holders, we need to ensure that our experience with the consumer is seamless. Now, AI definitely becomes a system that helps us to do that. I'll put an example behind it just for us to understand it better. In today's world, when we talk about generative AI, even me, I'm somebody who's professionally bred into the world of data and technology. Because before Mindshare, I was in Zaxxas, which has core deep capabilities of data and tech and everything advanced in India that you talk about lies there, right? So professionally, I have been grown in an environment which talks about all of that. So maybe that world is simple for me, but when I have to search something quickly, I mean, as we all know, ChatGPT is the go-to space for me. So when I'm using ChatGPT even to help myself, as a consumer, what I really want is a quick answer to what I'm seeking for, a crisp answer, right? Similarly, as an advertiser, when we are trying to connect to our consumers, to our audiences, AI just should be helping us with a very crisp narrative, with a very crisp levers and answers and matrix that helps us connect with them, which of course starts from the phase of planning, where creativity plays a bigger role. If we talk about experiences, clearly, idea should be that in a very ad clutter environment, how are we reaching to our consumers with a very sharp message? And we have a lot of technologies that talks about, dynamic creative servings, etc., and many more. But when we talk about AI, I think it has taken the game much higher, and it has set a new bar, especially with CGI content. And if you, really read about it online, and if you see some sample examples around it, you'll be amazed to see how that is really leaving such a bigger impact. When brands are utilizing computer-generated content, for an example, at Taj Mahal, if you're able to put your brand, suppose a brand is launching a bag, just behind that in a 3D form, which in a real world is impossible. But when you do that, you're reaching, I'll say, an imaginative world for a consumer, which they always want to see. Without naming a brand, a construction brand wanted to, pass on this message to their consumers that we are very strong and we make your dreams come true. Your dream house is possible with us. So we realized that how about we take Qutub Minar as an example, and we know, there are blocks that do not exist today, or the stories that do not exist today in Qutub Minar, and we use the brand messaging to show that we are, that let's relive a new world for you, and let's create your imagination in a reality. But that's something which is not possible in the real world, but which you can do with the help of AI. So that's where the journey starts, that when you start mapping that how can we make it more experience-driven strat and not just get into tech and tech. Of course, second stage comes, which is where automation comes in, where AI definitely plays a bigger role. And why do I say that? Because consumers are fast. I mean, for all of us, taking a decision is like, I have 10 seconds, talk to me and give me a message, that's all. We do not have patience today, right? And plus, we are so really occupied in our day-to-day lives that we do not have time to go through reviews and keep on searching about it. Hence, whatever makes relevance for us, even if it's 90% close, we make our decision. So you have to be quick, you have to be fast. So as an advertiser, when you're talking about your campaigns, you have millions of data strings attached. You have, even a single campaign will have billions of impressions in it. How do you take a decision, an informed decision in a shorter span of time? You cannot do it with a human intervention alone. So of course you need to have an AI. So it's an interplay. AI is helping us take those informed decisions. It's not something which is taking decisions on our behalf. And as my friends here, they definitely know that I'm very fond of taking some layman examples, because that's why always I keep thinking. So again, this morning this happened with me when I was thinking that, is it actually just AI playing a role, or is it just that we say that it's interplay? So when I was reaching here, of course, I looked at maps. That's what we all do. In fact, without saying it, I'll ask this question in this room to people. How many of you have ever experienced that a map has failed you when you followed it? Please raise your hands. Right? Who has not? I'm really impressed that you never faced it, because I faced it multiple times. At least once a month it happens to me, that when I follow a map to the core, I'm always at least 5 to 10 minutes late. And if I'm going to Delhi, maybe more, because it will suggest me a road which could be fastest in terms of I don't know what, but that road is either broken or the lane is not working, and then I'm taking a U-turn. There is a time when this entire protest was happening. It took me to the lane where protest was happening, right? Because AI does not know that India is doing a protest and people are sitting there, right? Whatever it will see is that I don't see movement happening, so yes, you can go, you can take it. Irrespective, so it happened today also. And I realized, why is it showing me a road which I never take? And I know it's just a highway from my house, and then right, and that's the hotel. I was like, okay, let's still take it. And I was following myself that today I'll not really mess it following the maps. But even then it was taking me right and then left. But when I was sticking to the road that I wanted to take to the lane, my journey was cut short by 12 minutes immediately. And then it struck me that if I'm only following AI in terms of taking decisions for me, that's where I'm landing. Of course, that does not happen every day, but there are days. So the bottom line of this is that eventually humans, of course, we have to step in and take our own decisions, and we have to decide whether this decision being suggested to me is relevant for the current situation or not. So that's where automation plays a role for us, that we need to use it for our advantage. We need to see that how we can automate a lot of systems that we need to have, and where we need to draw the line. Another example I'll put here, in the times, and I'm sure most of us in this room are really occupied with our lives, and for us, chatting on any website is always a support. It's not to figure out, hey, tell me which color suits me, what shirt do I buy? It's never that. It's the fact that, hey, product is defective, etc., whatever support I want. So imagine if the AI is talking to me in a very robotic language. I'm just more frustrated. It's not helping me. So maybe I need to have a human talking to me now, because my problem is difficult. Another layman example I'll put without naming the airline, though that's not a group client, but still with all due respect. I have to travel soon, and due to some visa issues, we had to book another airline. where I have to cancel it eventually. I'm just doing it for visa purpose, right? So if I'm canceling it, all I need to know is that how much will be the penalty cost back on me. Nowhere am I getting this answer. So of course I turn to the chat because I don't want to pick up a call. It's again hassle, press 1, press 5, press 10. And by that time I end up forgetting what I want to ask. So I went to chat, that is the easiest thing. Now questions are coming in, but there's no question that talks to me about cancellation in terms of what I'm asking. Yes, there's an option of cancellation, but when I go to it, it asks me for a PNR. But I have not booked the ticket yet, so I don't have a PNR. And I want to ask cancellation to make a decision whether I book from this airline or not. How much will be my cancellation charges is what I want to know. But I could not know it. So eventually, of course, I dropped that airline and I picked something else, where I was getting that answer on Make My Trip under their cancellation policies. So these examples, I'm just putting that as consumers, when we look at it, no AI technology is 100% proofing as an answer in terms of, this is what will take you closer to your consumer. So as an advertiser, we need to take these calls very consciously. While we do have these chat systems helping us and supporting us, but at the same time, we need to know that, yes, there's a need of a human intervention as well. And yes, consumer may want to talk to my team who serve customer care team, who can take up a call and quickly help and address that. So that's about automation. That again, that's an interplay of both humans and technology, helping humans. And lastly, which is very important, which I feel needs to have attention by all of us, is optimization. Because eventually, when you're running a campaign, it's not just about how great strat you're building, but it's about how well you're landing it. Where, of course, after your campaign goes live, optimization plays the bigger role, because that's where efficiency otherwise will take a hit if you do not take care of it. So another example I'll put, but from an advertising perspective this time. Again, how many of us in this room has faced a situation where our budgets went either underpaced or overpaced, at least one in our campaign career? Please raise your hand. Yeah. Do you feel when we are planning our campaigns, we spend hours and hours on sufficiency levels? We talk about what reach should I take, what CPM should I take. We really debate on one single rupee as a CPM cost, that why should I pay 150, not 149, not 148. And we are able to address it, that 149 versus 150 hits my campaign efficiency at this level because what I'm investing is huge. If I'm taking a frequency of 4 and not 5, it hits my reach level at a certain percentage and it hits my campaign efficiency and effectiveness. So we're really brainstorming to that level when we are planning a campaign, which is hundreds of hours. But if we are optimizing a campaign, if my campaign eventually either is underpacing or overpacing, do we not feel that all of those hundreds of hours are under a question? Which is where, of course, and that's, why do we always accept it? Because humans cannot always be working 24/7 and looking at billions of data strings at the same time. It's impossible. Which is where AI plays a bigger role. And there are a lot of tools, like GroupM has one of its own, which is called Copilot. It's a proprietary tool. It helps us optimizing a campaign. It's like you set up a goal to it, that I want to reach out to X audiences at a certain frequency with certain kind of goal as a CPM, certain kind of budget, and this is the pacing. And then it starts creating duplicate intelligent line items, which is taking decisions in terms of, on your behalf, that it keeps on shuffling the budget or frequencies, etc., so that eventually you land your campaign at your desired result that you want to have. So in a way, because when humans, we are sleeping, because of course we want to have sleep, that's how we are born and made, AI does not need that. So that time AI is working for us, and that's optimizing our campaign. So we know eventually what learnings are there, what insights do we have that we need to take care of, and of course that's the most fastest manner. So without taking not much of time, because I'm sure Shantanu is waiting for his questions from me, I'll just sum it up that in a very simplified manner, we need to keep AI in our mind for all these three things, which is how can we use AI to create experiences, how can we use it to automate, and lastly, how can we optimize using it. And I think that's where all your stack sits. Whichever product you want to land, it will fit into this very well. Yeah, thank you.